Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone 11 Pro and iPhone 10 came out a few years ago, so let's go and see how they both compare in 2022. Now, they're still relevant. I think, actually just made a video about them both today, and I will tell you, if you have an iPhone 10 or 11 Pro, great iPhone still, the 11 Pro more so. If you want to pick up these iPhones, I'll leave some links in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, they kind of have the same thing going on. You probably couldn't even tell which one is which. The iPhone 10 was on my right. It does have that 5.8-inch OLED panel, and it's still a pretty good panel when it comes down to it. It's definitely not perfect. No 60 hertz, no 90 hertz or 120 hertz, but still a pretty good panel overall. And I will definitely tell you, in 2022, mostly because Apple hasn't really changed anything crazy with these panels or the notch or anything, it still looks like a pretty current design in my opinion. On the iPhone 11 Pro, kind of the same exact thing as well, 2019 device versus 2017, and same exact notch pretty much on both. Face ID apparently has gotten a little bit better, but the thing with the iPhone 11 Pro is that with this device, it actually still feels a little bit more premium, and that's because of the build quality in general. So pretty much the same displays on both, but when you look at this bands, I will definitely tell you the chassis of the iPhone 11 Pro looks a little bit better, mostly because of that gold design. With the iPhone 10, you had the black and you had the white color. The 11 Pro, you had a few more options, and I definitely did kind of like the gold option that you had here. But the biggest difference on the outside is with the back, and this is where you're going to be able to tell which one is which. The iPhone 10 has this standard glass back with the dual camera setup. The 11 Pro has this frosted glass back, the triple camera setup. This back is amazing and it feels extremely premium even now. Most of the iPhones nowadays have this type of glass back as well, the Pro models, and this was definitely one of the coolest things that Apple ever did that they still do. Wireless charging on both of them on the back, IP certification on both as well, but definitely I would side with the 11 Pro with it being a way better design phone with the back in mind and with it just feeling way better in the hand as well. Now, one of the more interesting things with both these phones is probably with the software lifespan. Since this phone came out in 2017, you're probably going to be getting a few more years of software support. I mean, I would probably say like 2 years possibly, but it's not going to be lasting, like a way crazier amount. I would probably say this thing is going to be lasting probably for the next like two years of like full OS updates and maybe like a year of security updates, but it's not going to be lasting as long as something like the 11 Pro, where this device is going to be lasting probably for the next, I would say like 2-3 years at the bare minimum. Since this is a 2019 phone, I mean, I would probably say 3-4 years possibly. Who knows if Apple goes ahead and switches their lifespan again, and that's including some security updates too. But this device is going to be lasting for a very long amount of time. Like I mentioned before, it's really not going anywhere anytime soon either. So in terms of the software longevity, I would give this one thumbs up for sure. It's going to be better than the iPhone 10, but this is still going to be lasting for a few more years as well. So that kind of covers it up there. I was going to do a speed comparison between both of them. The iPhone 10 has that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. The 11 Pro has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear out in the background except for this one. The iPhone 10 is on the left. The iPhone 11 Pro is on the right. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing, kind of to be honest. Music, 3, 2, 1. And the 11 Pro kind of was looking like it was faster, but then the iPhone 10 loaded this panel up faster. I'm not really too sure what to make of that one. App Store, 3, 2, 1. And the 11 Pro faster, followed by the iPhone 10 a little bit behind. Scrolling through, let's see which one is faster. And I kind of think they're both going to be around the same thing. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into photos, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing as well. Hopping out of this one, let's go and do camera, 3, 2, 1. And about the same thing too, really not that big of a difference. We can do clock, 3, 2, 1. Maybe the 11 Pro is faster. We can do podcast, 3, 2, 1. The iPhone 11 Pro is faster there. Let's do voice memos, which I do not have here. We can try going into some of these third-party applications that I have on both. We can kind of go from there. Let's go and do Bofa, which I do not have, which is so weird. I thought I usually had that app. We can do Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone, they were both kind of the same. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. The iPhone 10 was faster. Maybe the iPhone 10 was faster there too. I actually wasn't even paying attention. Stack, 3, 2, 1. And the 11 Pro was faster, but it was very, very close. It wasn't like that big of a difference between them. Let's go get into some gameplay, and I think they're going to be roughly around the same. Hopping out of this one. Let's go and get into Netflix, 3, 2, 1. About the same thing too. Hopping out of here. Let's go and get into Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. About the same thing too. Let's do Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. I think the 11 Pro is faster there. We can go ahead and do something like Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. and the 11 Pro was faster, followed by the 10. Gameplay wise, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference, but the iPhone 10 was actually kind of glitching up a little bit there. Hopping out of this one, we can try example run 2, 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the iPhone 11 Pro is the faster one here, followed by the iPhone 10. And this is another example of, essentially the 11 Pro being faster, but the iPhone 10 was also doing a tremendous job. Like, I was actually pretty surprised how good of a job the iPhone 10 has been doing right now in this specific comparison. Now, I will test other apps, but I don't really think, thank you 321. Looks like they're all kind of jumbled up out of everywhere. But I will definitely tell you, I think the 11 Pro is probably the faster one most of the time, but the iPhone 10 was beating the iPhone 11 Pro in a lot of different ways. I was not expecting that to happen. So definitely when it comes down to this specific case, I will probably side with the 11 Pro being the faster one more times than not, but the iPhone 10 really, really surprised me. I could not believe how great of a job the iPhone 10 was doing, and it's actually pretty insane that the iPhone 10 is still performing at this level these many years later. So I'll definitely tell you that kind of covers it up here. Now let's go and quickly hit on the cameras. Now, like I mentioned, the 11 Pro triple camera setup, iPhone 10 dual camera setup, both have, wide and telephoto lenses. The 11 Pro has that ultra wide sensor, 4K at 60 on the back, but only 1080p on the front of the iPhone 10. The 11 Pro can do 4K at 60 on the front, which is really nice. Now, with something like the iPhone 10, this is kind of like a dated camera, like I mentioned before. It's definitely not the first one I would recommend, but it still has, good capability. You have that telephoto lens, so you have the ability of zooming in a lot into a photo, which is really nice. You have the portrait mode as well, which is really cool, so you can do certain things like that. But you do have more portrait capability on the 11 Pro, so keep that in mind. But other than that, this is still a pretty good lens. I think it still gets the job done. It's definitely not better than the 11 Pro, but it's not a horrible camera by any means. With something like the 11 Pro, this is a tremendous lens for sure. It still is really, really good. And like I mentioned, having that capability of 4K 60 on the front and the back is really nice to have, and I love having that type of capability for sure. Now you have the same exact capability as the 10, but you do have a bit more because you do have that ultra wide sensor, and you do have some things, in that sense as well. You still have portrait mode, you still have everything like that, but you have 4K 60 on the front, which is really nice as well. So definitely the 11 Pro's camera is better. I still think the 10's camera is good enough for the most part, but this is definitely the one that's better for sure. And now to kind of sum up this video, what I'll definitely tell you is the 11 Pro is probably the better phone in every single area. I think this is the one I would much rather recommend picking up. It has a lot more capability and is definitely the device that's going to be lasting you a much longer time. With the iPhone 10, I think it's actually still a relevant device. I think it still has a lot of capability, but it wouldn't be the first one I would recommend people to pick up. I would recommend people picking up the 11 Pro if you have the option to, but it's still a really good device. Like, if you own this, I would recommend keeping it maybe until the 13 Pros go out and the 14s come in. Then you can probably pick these things up for even cheaper. But even if not, going from a 10 to 11 Pro is a really big upgrade. If you own an 11 Pro, I would say keep it as well. I wouldn't even go to a 13 Pro yet. I'd recommend keeping this device and seeing how it goes, and then maybe going to a used 13 Pro in the future. But other than that, both these devices are great, and you can't really go wrong with picking up an iPhone 10, but go for the 11 Pro if you have the money. So that kind of covers it. If you have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.